Hello, my name is Lamppost, and today I will be narrating the first chapter of the book I am writing. The book is still unnamed, and the chapters are still all subject to change as I edit and rework to make this book be exactly what I want it to be. I hope you all enjoy, and here is Chapter 1. Clint stared over the desolate plains, watching the birds fly over in their yearly trek south, following the changing of the seasons. Avian wonders able to escape the oncoming storms. He readjusted his tired trucker hat and turned on his heel, returning to his old, worn pickup truck. The rust-covered Ford creaked under the weight of his steel-toed boots as he hauled up into the driver's seat. He wiped the dust from his mirrors. Always dust as far as the eye could see. Soon the dust would be covered in snow and once again cake the prairie in a layer of vomitous sludge. Days like this reminded him of the Revelations, his preacher's ramblings about the rapture. How could God scorch an already barren earth? The only thing that seemed to work in that old Ford was the CD player. Clint sighed and slipped a disc into the slot and let the scratchy melodies drift through his head. The songs bled together in his mind. They shepherded memories he hid back before he knew the harm they could do, fights that left him down and bloody. With the jingle of metal he twisted the keys in the ignition, and the old truck grumbled to life with a slow groan. The old dashboard clock read 12:42 p.m. The engine grumbled, and Clint went on his way. After 20 minutes of bumping along old back roads, he pulled into a faded parking lot in a town that was akin to an abandoned strip mall. Once gilded buildings lay empty and sun-bleached, like wilted skeletons picked clean and left to rot. Clint locked his car and slumped over to the brownish-gray building covering old neon lights, adverts for beers and brands of cigarettes long out of business. He pushed through the creaky, decrepit door. The afternoon sun illuminates the amber liquors atop rustic cabinets. He wiped off the bar with a stained rag and began to prepare for opening. Another quiet night, no doubt. No one came to this town anymore. All the oil fields had dried up decades ago, and the only folks who stayed were either too poor or too stubborn to leave. Those persistent locals resigned themselves to their jobs, specters chained to the corporeal realm. Clint was no different. As soon as he got out of high school, he got a job cleaning the dive bar at the end of town and never left. Now he practically owns the place. The true owner was an ancient husk of a man. His son had moved away decades ago, and the poor fool never was the same. He performed regular quality checks on the hard liquor and ensured the smoking area always had the smell to identify it. Nicotine caked the walls of the old bar, giving the inside a yellowish tinge. Most days, though, it was just Clint, pouring out Jack and Cokes for the hapless few patrons left. He slouched over to the door, flipping through the open sign, and turned on the dated window lights. The sun had begun to set, and the bar had been populated by the few regulars who dotted the room. An old man tipped back a beer slowly, pondering a decision from days long gone. A woman is scribbling incoherencies into a sketchbook that will only ever be seen by her eyes. The bar smells of whiskey, sweat, and a hint of mold as fans buzz loudly above the hushed bodies. Long hours and quiet nights were all this little oaky town knew. As the bleeding oranges of husk pierced the horizon and the moon began its nightly rain of the skies, a car rolled into the parking lot. This car was sleek teal, shined to the nines and shimmering with the golden skies. From Clint's view it was perfect. The stored car slowly, smoothly to a halt, and a man emerged. He wore a light blue shirt with white stripes covered by a tan duster secured with an ornate bolo tie. His jeans were starched up, covering dark snakeskin boots. A rust-colored bandana tailed behind him, flowing from his back pocket. As he passed the threshold of the bar, he removed his hat and set it on the bar. His golden hair flowed down his neck in subtle waves that framed his face, speckled with stubble and a thin mustache. "Where can a man find a place to sleep in a town like this?" inquired the man in a thick Texan drawl, slumped down to a bar stool. "The old motel down the road should suit you just fine, mister." Clint nodded as he wiped the everlasting grime from a cup and set it in its home on the shelf. He stared at the stranger through the reflection in the mirror, placed behind the bar, to make the bar seem larger than the single dingy room. He was unlike anyone Clint had ever seen. Not just some boring slop in that tumbleweed town. He was something new. Electric. You got a problem with me, sir? The stranger spoke, jolting Clint from his trance. Oh, no, sorry, I was just lost in thought. Clint mumbled. Can I get you a drink, Mr. It's Wayland. He shot coolly and pointed at a bottle towards the back of the shelf. A glass of that'll do me just fine. He placed down a few bills and scanned the room, bored, till his eyes landed on the rickety old jukebox, having been left untouched save for the times Clint had added his new favorite songs to the antique machine. Wayland thumbed a quarter into the coin slot and selected an old Merle Haggard song. Clinton heard it too many times to count and swayed along as he poured out another drink. What brings you to this town? We don't get many new folks around here no more, Clint asked. He doesn't remember a time when anyone would choose to come to this ratty old town. On my way to a rodeo, Wayland replied. Only just passing through. It's the same old story. This was a pit stop of a town, a pause of respite for wanderers stewarded by those unable to flee. Y'all alone heading to rodeos? Don't you need a ranch hand or a little lady to keep you company? Clint wondered aloud. It's tough work, but it's worth it. I'll make do with the means I have. Maybe one day I'll pick up someone to carry some of the load, but for now I'm flying solo. It's easier that way. They both knew it was a lie, but didn't linger too long in searching for the truth behind the facade. Wayland got up and began to mime a ballroom dance across the cramped barroom floor, like a broken jewelry box missing its figurines. His boots tapped across the wood and twirled along to those poor yearning words strung out in the air. Clint met eyes with him for a moment before quickly looking away, resuming an idle task to busy his mind. Come here, barman. You can dance, can't you? Wayland called to Clint, striding up to the bar. Keep cleaning that damn cup. By this time in the night, I'm usually dancing with someone. Have some fun. Clint glances around. Not a soul in the bar is looking. All too caught up in their own misery to care about this newcomer. Slowly shuffling from out behind the bar, he takes Wayland's hand. Before Clint even had the chance to gain a solid footing, a two-stepping song came on and he was whisked away. He stumbled and tripped over his feet, finding himself having to do the woman's part just to keep up with this mysterious man. The percussion of boots on the hardwood floor caught the attention of other patrons, like an old spell ritual, a necromancer raising the dead from their slumber. The undead swayed in their seats and stools as song crescendoed in a flurry of limbs. The jukebox sputtered to a stop. Clint looked at Wayland posing from the big finale. He was ethereal, an angel sent from the holy God of coming years, a breath of fresh air, untainted and dust-free. There he stood, inches from Clint, hand in hand, a what-if. Clint saw the world open before him, drifting up above the room, out of the good-for-nothing bar into space. Light emitted from that dark void, something new, something different, something he feared as much as he worshipped. It was too bright. Tongues of fire lashed him back to reality as a patron shoved Clint's shoulder. The sandbags were retied to his laces. Can't you hear me when I'm asking for a drink, dumbass? The senile old man stood there, rotten in his skin with a large, toothless scowl. Clint dropped Wayland's hand and trudged back behind the bar. It was all just a prayer left unheard, like so many prayers before his. He kept his head down as he refilled the man's pint. By the time Clint looked back up, Wayland was gone. Maybe it was all just a daydream, a deep, dark secret that's best left alone. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this first chapter of my book. I have almost 2 more chapters written, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. So thank you so much for listening. I know it's very different from the other content I've been putting out, but I hope you enjoy. I'll catch y'all later.